The next page is the front cover of Dreamcast Magazine. It's emblazoned with the Dreamcast Magazine logo in large white letters on a red background. The cover highlights a few key games, including Echo the Dolphin, proclaimed as possibly the most fantastic game ever. Dead or Alive 2 is also featured with the tagline, "The beat 'em up with added bounce." There's mention of Four-Wheel Thunder, described as trucking hardcore action aplenty, and Tech Romancer with the boast, "He's just the greatest dancer." Urban Chaos is also advertised, stating, "They'll be rioting in the streets tonight." The main image is a large render of a blonde female character, instantly recognizable as Kasumi from Dead or Alive 2. There's also a smaller image at the bottom showing characters from Urban Chaos. It's promoting itself as the UK's best-selling independent Dreamcast magazine, and mentions a free book worth £9.95. It's priced at £2.99 and it is issue number 8. There's also a competition to win over £1,500 worth of prizes, including Philips Nicam Stereo, TVS. The cover definitely grabs your attention with Kasumi front and center. This page is a rather odd advert for Resident Evil 2 on Dreamcast. It features these very cute frog characters, a dad frog handing over a copy of the game to a young frog called Freddy. The text reads, "Go and have some fun," said Daddy Frog, handing young Freddy a copy of Resident Evil 2 on Dreamcast. It's a very strange juxtaposition, using these childish frog characters to advertise a horror game like Resident Evil 2. It definitely plays on the idea that even though Resident Evil 2 is a mature game, it's still a must-have title for the Dreamcast, perhaps even hinting at its accessibility to a wider audience than you might expect for a zombie horror game. This page is the contents page for issue 8, launching in the UK on April 20th. It's the Welcome to Your Dreams issue, going by the tagline at the top. The editorial discusses the launch of the PlayStation 2 and how it's sold well, but argues that the Dreamcast still offers great games. It mentions how the Dreamcast is going from strength to strength, highlighting the reviews in this issue will confirm this. Moving on to the features, there's a section on Urban Chaos, page 42, mentioning crime is rife, and it's about sorting things out on the streets. It mentions Muckyfoot, and that it's a PC conversion. Rife. Then there's Virtua Cop 2 on page 46, described as an oldie but a goodie, saying they went down the local arcades to check out why this Dreamcast shooter still manages to draw in the crowds. Roris. There is a section called At a Glance Red Hot Games, and then a feature on Dead or Alive 2, page 52, pointing out the ladies, and mentioning the game's brassy bounciness. The screenshot here shows Helena and another fighter in action, and another image shows a lady in a yellow bikini, showcasing the game's visual appeal. Finally, the main visual on the left of the page is an advert for Grand Theft Auto 2, announcing its release on Dreamcast on April 28th, with the tagline "Released on bail." This page is an advert for Cheats Unlimited, promising cheats and tips for over 3,000 games on Dreamcast, PlayStation, N64, PC, and Game Boy Color. They've got a couple of numbers to ring, one for under 16s, and another for over 16s. The advert lists a load of games they cover, loads of Dreamcast titles in there like Daytona USA 2, Dynamite Cop, Evolution, Hydro Thunder, King of Fighters Dream Match 99, Marvel vs. Cap.com, NFL 2K, Power Stone, Ready to Rumble Boxing, Resident Evil Code Veronica, Sega Rally 2, Soul Calibur and Virtua Fighter 3 TB to name a few. They're offering cheat codes, release dates, walkthroughs, guides, and essential advice with a faxback service. They're really pushing the number of cheats they've got for all these platforms. Evil Dead: Hail to the King is coming to Dreamcast, promising survival horror inspired by the Evil Dead trilogy. THQ is delivering the game, previously known as Evil Dead: Ashes to Ashes, featuring Ash voiced by Bruce Campbell, with gameplay blending elements of zombie revenge and Resident Evil. The game promises intense gore, atmospheric camera angles, and a focus on the battle against the Necronomicon and enemies like Deadites. It aims to compete with Resident Evil, Code Veronica, Carrier, and D2, with an October release and 50% development. The section also highlights other Dreamcast titles: Samba de Amigo, Wacky Races, Rush 2049, Gauntlet Legends, and Ultimate Fighting Championship. This page showcases a variety of Dreamcast news and previews. Starting with Test Drive Off-Road 3, it's confirmed for Dreamcast, and it sounds like they're really pushing the licensed vehicle angle with Hummer and others. They reckon it'll make a big splash on the system, with its mud and snow racing. Then there's a preview of Zusar Vasar, which is described as a chariot racing game. Sounds a bit bonkers, like Ben-Hur meets combat racing. developed by Real Vision. Next up, Castlevania Staked hints at a Dreamcast Castlevania game, though it sounds like it might be in development limbo, a shame if true. The Dreamcast charts lists the top games. Tomb Raider 4 is number 1, followed by Rayman 2 and Soul Reaver. Crazy Taxi is still up there at number 9. Vips Coming to Dreamcast is about a game featuring Pamela Anderson, which sounds a bit cheesy but could be a laugh. Hot Bites mentions positive feedback on Dead or Alive 2, and news about Sega's online gaming network and a new game called Rocket. Cold Cuts talks about Metropolis Street Racer being delayed and someone going off to Japan. Finally, there's a section promoting other magazines from Paragon Publishing, but nothing particularly noteworthy for Dreamcast gamers there. The next page jumps straight into an update on Samba de Amigo. It's getting a Dreamcast port, which is great news as it was a proper madcap maraca-shaking arcade game. Apparently they've confirmed it will come with its own maracas for controllers. The game itself will have arcade, original, challenge and party modes, and it's touted to be the first game to use the Dreamcast's MP3-capable VM unit. There's mention of mini-games in party mode, like Mole Panic, Pose and Pose, Memory Replay, and 2 others called Power Rush and Speed Judgment. Looks like they are trying to get Sega to release the game over here too. Roy. There's also a news snippet about Evolution Evolves Again, confirming a sequel to Evolution, World of Sacred Device. It's called Evolution 2, Far Off Promise. They're promising better graphics and gameplay and it's set to be released this summer, continuing the RPG adventuring. Aside from the game previews, there are competitions on the page to win Blair Witch Project DVDs and Buffy box sets, but the games are the real draw here. This Dreamcast newscast highlights upcoming PC game ports and online developments. Rune, a Viking action game, is planned for a summer release. Prince of Persia, described as a 3D-style game, is also in development. Phantasy Star Online gets an update, confirming the game's familiar universe, a mysterious explosion storyline, and a planned end-of-year release, with more details to come at the Tokyo Game Show. The game is praised by Sega. Finally, European Online Gaming is launching on May 12 alongside Choo Choo Rocket. Phantasy Star Online, Quake 2i, and Half-Life are among the online titles. The page also advertises Fur Fighters for both PC and Dreamcast. Norsa. This page of Dreamcast Magazine has news on a few interesting titles. Cap.com are releasing an episodic RPG called Eldorado's Gate in Japan. Quite a unique approach. It's set around a conflict between good and evil, Dios and Raijin, and his 12 parasitic underlings. The article mentions, it will have a mystical atmosphere reminiscent of Breath of Fire, and the programmers have experience from the Resident Evil series, so that's promising. It will be released in bi-monthly chunks, with a massive 24 chapters planned in total, which is a bit of a commitment. There's a competition to win Iron Giant gift sets, celebrating the video release of the film. Moving on, there's a quick update on Mojo Rally, the Austin Powers kart racer. It's still on track for an October release, and will feature characters like Mini-Me, Fat Bastard, and Austin Powers himself across 15 courses, and a 4-player mode. Finally, there's an advert for MDK2, highlighting 3 heroes, 3 types of action, 1 ultimate goal. A solid title, that one, known for its quirky action. Dreamcast Magazine previews upcoming titles like Power Stone 2, a 4-player beat-em-up promising fun, and Choo Choo Rocket, Wacky Races also gets a brief mention. Zeta ka 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 ka. A competition offers Sonic figures to those who answer, "What is the name of Sonic's girlfriend?" Finally, a full-page advertisement showcases Sword of the Berserk, Guts Rage, a gritty action title with a dark aesthetic, typical of Eidos, and includes the website www.eidos.com. This news update covers various Dreamcast developments. The Tokyo Game Show is highlighted, featuring Sega titles like Eternal Arcadia, Jet Set Radio, and Phantasy Star Online, alongside Capcom's Power Stone 2. A D2 comic adaptation is in the works. Sega is promoting its sports titles, with World Series Baseball 2K1 due in May, and other sports games also releasing. Facing the PlayStation 2 launch, Sega launches an Only Dreamcast campaign to incentivize game purchases. New peripherals include a mouse. Rumors suggest a Make an X sequel at the Tokyo Game Show. Import charts show NBA 2K and Resident Evil Code Veronica topping the Japanese and US charts respectively. Sega is promoting its sports games in America with a promotion at Pacific Bell Park. Stunt GP will be published in the US by Infogrames. Finally, Seaman is coming to the US, with improved dialogue, and Dead or Alive 2 receives a provocative advertisement. This page features Dreamcast news, including release schedules for the UK, Japan, and US. UK releases in April include MDK2, F1, and GTA 2, with Choo Choo Rocket in May. Japanese titles include Romance of the Three Kingdoms Vigay. US releases feature Caesar's Palace 2000 and ESPN NBA Tonight. A preview of Dragon's Blood, an action RPG with impressive graphics, faces potential framerate issues. News also includes Buffy the Vampire Slayer, a Tomb Raider-style adventure. SNK is developing Cool Cool Toon, a rhythm comic game. A competition to win game guides is also mentioned. Warinise. The Dragon's Blood preview focuses on playable characters, Sinric the Warrior, and Eowyn the Sorceress. Finally, an advertisement for Dead or Alive 2, featuring a provocative image, is included. This page has a preview of Sega Worldwide Soccer Euro 2000 edition, noting that whilst there have been 3 football games already released on the Dreamcast, this one from Silicon Dreams is looking promising with vastly improved graphics and gameplay. It mentions they've updated the game to reflect Euro 2000 in Holland and Belgium, and are aiming for a June release. Next up is a preview for Walt Disney World Quest Magical Racing Tour, describing it as a kart racing game with a focus on fun, featuring Disney characters like Chip and Dale, and Jiminy Cricket. It mentions various tracks themed around Disney World attractions, and compares it to Diddy Kong Racing for its tasks and goals beyond just racing. There's a competition to win one of 5 copies of Rayman 2 by answering a simple question. What's the name of Rayman's water snake and water skiing friend? Finally, there's an advert for the PlayStation 2, proclaiming "We've got it," and also an advert for a competition hotline, where you can win a DVD player. This page features a preview of Rally 2 Expert Edition for the Dreamcast, and blimey, they're really talking it up, aren't they? Apparently it's going to blow Sega Rally 2 out of the water, and become the new king of rally games. They reckon it's a massive improvement over the PlayStation version, calling it a proper next-gen driving simulation. Eden's the developer, and they've been banging on about it for ages, but it sounds like they finally got their hands on some proper code. They're raving about the graphics, the frame rate being super fast, and the car handling being spot on. Looks like they've been racing in New Zealand, England, Corsica and Finland, all sorts of locations. It's slated for release in May. Ray. There's a bit about the landscapes being rugged and hilly, and the sunsets being gorgeous, you know, all the usual rally scenery stuff. They even mention you can roll your car over easily, if you're not careful on the corners. They're highlighting the 4-player mode as a great feature for entertaining your mates, and there's also a track editor included. Plus, they're boasting about having 6 different camera views, including in-car and external views, so you can find your perfect driving perspective. All in all, it sounds like they're pretty impressed, and reckon Rally 2 is going to be the top dog of racing games when it comes out. This page features a preview of Wacky Races for the Dreamcast, based on the cartoon, and it looks like they are aiming for a cartoon-perfect style from the screenshots. They are promising 16 crazy courses set in Redwood Forest, desert drifts, and snowy peaks. You'll be able to play as all 11 races from the cartoon, once you've unlocked them, that is. They've got 6 game modes, including Wacky Cup, Straight Race, Time Trial, Boss Challenge, Battle Round, and Versus mode. They're also hinting at the original voice actors doing the voiceovers. Moving on, there's a preview for Arcatera, The Dark Brotherhood, which they're describing as a role-playing game that could take fantasy adventure games to a new level. It's being published by Ubisoft and developed in-house. They are boasting over 200 locations to explore, and 150 characters to interact with, and a weaving storyline that changes based on your choices. They mention you're investigating a satanic cult and trying to stop them from overthrowing the prince, with a 3-week in-game time limit to solve the case. They reckon it's 80% complete and slated for a May release. The anticipation rating is a solid 80%, so it seems promising. This page kicks off with a competition to win one of 4 Philips Nicam Stereo TVS, which is a nice bit of kit for playing your Dreamcast on. Then it's straight into an advert for Slave Zero from Infogrames. Looks like a bit of a futuristic action blast. They're quoting Dreamcast Monthly, giving it 8 out of 10, saying it's a game of epic proportions. The graphics are superb. PC Gamer is also raving about it as a top arcade title, with storming action, and gave it 82%. The advert bigs it up with 16 city-spanning missions, car-crushing, environmental interaction, raging 3D graphics and sound, and battle-ready multiplayer modes. Sounds like a decent action title for the Dreamcast and PC. This page features a bit of movie fantasy casting. This month they're dreaming up a Soul Reaver, Legacy of Kain movie. They reckon Tim Burton should direct it, and it would definitely be an 18 certificate, given the subject matter. For casting they've gone for Willem Dafoe as Raziel, Gary Oldman as Kain, Kevin Costner as Rahab, Jim Carrey as Zephyr, and Paul McKenna as Morlock. Some interesting choices there. There's also a quick preview for Kiss, Psycho Circus Nightmare Child. Looks like a first-person shooter where you play as different members of Kiss, taking on monsters and using death-dealing weaponry, and they reckon it might give games like Half-Life and Quake 2 a run for their money. Then on the right side of the page, there's an advert for the Screenbeat Soundstation speakers. These are 300-watt speakers for PlayStation, Dreamcast and PCS, and they're going for £49.99. They're quoting reviews from PC Player, Extreme PlayStation and consolers who rate them highly. You can get them at places like Bennett's, Comet, Dixon's, GameStation, HMV, and other retailers. San Francisco Rush 2049 for the Dreamcast is shaping up to be an exciting arcade racer, according to preview coverage. The game, approximately 70% complete, impresses with its speed, environments, and new features beyond a simple port. These include stunt and obstacle modes, expanding on the standard arcade racing experience. The preview highlights a smooth 60 FPS frame rate and praise for the 4-player mode. With 13 futuristic cars and 6 tracks, the game promises a visually stunning experience, particularly in single-player. The magazine anticipates a polished final product with only 3 months of development remaining. The anticipation rating suggests this is a must-have title, praising the game's fantastic visuals and collection-worthy status. This page is an advert for Gameplay.com. It's got a big extended sale banner shouting about all Dreamcast games being £29.99 or less, while stocks last. Hurry, they say. They're really pushing their online store. There are a few game screenshots dotted about. You can see Jimmy White's 2, Cue Ball, Sega Rally 2, Sonic Adventure, Soul Calibur, and NFL Blitz 2000, all solid titles there. They're also advertising Dreamcast hardware bundles, including a Dreamcast console with a game and SCART cable. Down the right-hand side there's a massive list of UK Dreamcast games, all priced at £29.99, reduced from a typical RRP of £39.99, or even less for some of the older titles like Mortal Kombat and NBA 2000 at £17.99. It's a real bargain bin of classics there, everything from Aero Wings to WWF Attitude. Quite a selection to choose from if you're building up your Dreamcast collection. They're also selling Dreamcast accessories like carry cases, keyboards, VMUs, controllers, arcade sticks, steering wheels, jump packs, VGA boxes, and SCART/S-Video/AV cables, all at discounted prices. It's a one-stop shop for Dreamcast goodies. This Gameplay.com. They're even pushing the Neo Geo Pocket Color handheld console at £51.99. Along with a list of Neo Geo Color games like Sonic Pocket Adventure and King of Fighters. It's a proper retro gamer's paradise on this page. This page is a preview of Gauntlet Legends coming to the Dreamcast. It's positioning itself as a return to classic arcade dungeon crawling, but in glorious 3D. The article talks about the original arcade game and how this new version is bringing it into the modern age with improved graphics. The screenshots show off the 3D environments and hordes of monsters you'll be battling. They are highlighting the graphical improvements and the detailed worlds like Sumner's Tower, icy wastes and plague villages, even comparing the visuals favorably to Jennifer Lopez in a cling film swimsuit. Cheeky. They mention a massive number of creatures on screen and the large variety of monsters, including ogres, skeletons and ghosts. There's a section introducing some of the new playable characters for this Dreamcast version. Apparently, there will be 9 in total. They highlight a few. The dwarf who's described as vertically challenged, the knight who's more interested in lopping off limbs than rescuing princesses, the sorceress who's compared to Debbie McGee, and a strange jester character who uses bombs. They also mention the return of the classic characters, Warrior, Wizard, Valkyrie, and Archer. The Dreamcast rating box gives it an anticipation rating, with Midway as both publisher and developer. It says it's 60% complete and aimed at 14 players. They are definitely hyping this up as a game to look forward to. This page features a preview of Ultimate Fighting Championship, or UFC as it's known. It's from Crave Entertainment, and they're making it clear it's not like wrestling games, it's going for realism and bone-crunching action. A bit more serious than your Soul Calibur or Power Stone. They're boasting about realistic moves, knees to the face, and arm-breaking submissions, ouch. Apparently, there will be 22 real UFC fighters, and even the option to create your own fighter. Bull. They've got screenshots showing the game in action, and they are talking about the realism, saying it could be the most realistic fighter on the Dreamcast. There's a section called, "You Call That Big and Scary?" which talks about the real UFC events, mentioning some of the fighters like Ken Shamrock and Tank Abbott, saying they might be in the game to add to the realism. On the right side of the page, there's an advert from Simply Games. They are offering games for sale, listing titles like Slave Zero, Tomb Raider 4, Toy Story 2, Tony Hawk's, Dead or Alive 2, Rayman 2, Red Dog, and Sega Bass Fishing with a Rod. They're advertising latest games, amazing prices, fast and free delivery, and giving out their customer service number, email, and website address. Urban Chaos, a PC and Dreamcast title, is described as the evil love child of Fighting Force and Lara Croft, promising a mix of brawling action and exploration. Players control Darcy and the Wildcat in a chaotic, post-apocalyptic setting, reminiscent of the Y2K Millennium bug hype. The game is set in the dark and crime-ridden Union City, overrun by street gangs and anarchy. While presented as more than a typical beat-em-up, the article highlights its atmosphere, suggesting a gritty and immersive experience. Screenshots showcase a murder scene and an apartment roof, illustrating the game's urban and violent environment. A black cat logo is also featured. The preview covers the Dreamcast game Urban Chaos. It starts with a brief mention of games with chaos in their titles like Sonic Adventure and the Chaos Engine. The main focus is Urban Chaos, which stars rookie cop Darcy Stern in Union City. The game promises exploration, mission-based gameplay, and a gritty atmosphere, highlighting its unique female lead and a Jackie Chan-esque fighting style. The preview emphasizes the detailed environment, including lighting effects and explorable areas. An interview with Finn Magici from Mucky Foot discusses the game's Dreamcast optimization, its inspiration from American cities, and the focus on gameplay despite some technical limitations. They also hint at potential online features and touch on another project, Space Station. Screenshots showcase gameplay, including rooftop sections, street scenes, and close combat. This page features a look at Virtua Cop 2 coming to the Dreamcast. It's highlighted as a welcome addition, even if a bit old, given its arcade pedigree and light gun shooter appeal. The article emphasizes it as a classic gameplay experience that stands the test of time, despite its visuals being somewhat dated compared to titles like Crazy Taxi and Ferrari F355. Although they acknowledge the tech of the time was still impressive for Virtua Cop 2. It mentions the core gameplay loop of shooting bad guys and protecting bystanders remains enjoyable, and compares it favorably to the House of the Dead 2. There are screenshots showcasing classic Virtua Cop 2 gameplay, with target reticules and in-game action. There's a What's Up section with opinions from players Chow Rich, a 32-year-old manager who enjoyed it despite not playing many computer games, and Malcolm Rich, a 36-year-old systems analyst who thinks it's fun, though easier than Time Crisis 2, but acknowledges it's a good arcade rail shooter. The Trigger Happy section reviews light gun shooters, specifically Virtua Cop 2, comparing it to House of the Dead 2, Time Crisis, and Point Blank. Gamer opinions on Virtua Cop 2 are included, with varied views on its enjoyability and difficulty. The right side features an advertisement for puredreamcast.co.uk, promoting Dreamcast games. They offer monthly special deals, with games like Crazy Taxi, Soul Calibur, and House of the Dead 2 available. Other titles, including Rayman 2 and Sonic Adventure, are listed at lower prices. The ad also announces upcoming releases and includes a mail order coupon. This Dreamcast game review page features UK and import reviews. UK reviews include Echo the Dolphin, 56%, Four Wheel Thunder, 60%, Tech Romancer, 64%, The Nomad Soul, 66%, Street Fighter 2 I, Double Impact, 68%, ECW Hardcore Revolution, 70%, and Weetrix Plus, 72%. Import reviews showcase Marvel vs. Capcom 2, 74%, and several games at 76%, including Virtua Cop 2, Ring, Aero Dancing F, Sakura Wars, and NHL 2K. A full-page spread details ECW Hardcore Revolution with a good news/bad news breakdown. The Dream Team section discusses aging and highlights favorite games: Doa 2, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Elephant Hunting, and Weetrix Plus. Other sections include a scoring system explanation and general magazine features like Essential Info and Awesome Moment. Dead or Alive 2 is reviewed, highlighting its emphasis on visual appeal, particularly the female character's assets. The reviewer acknowledges the game's marketing relies on provocative imagery. Despite this, the review claims the game is marvelously enjoyable to play, suggesting substance beyond the aesthetics. The game features standard fighting modes, like Survival and Versus Bay, plus team battles. The Dreamcast graphics are praised. Additional info includes the character relationships, the hidden boss, and Tina's fashion show ending. Essential information lists it as a beat-em-up by Tecmo and Acclaim, originally from Japan, released on April 28 for £39.99, with arcade stick and vibration pack compatibility. The tagline, "Dead or Alive 2 is every bit as good as it looks," encapsulates the review's perspective. Dead or Alive 2 is reviewed, focusing on its female characters and visually appealing aspects. The review highlights Ayane, Tina, Kasumi, Lifang, and Helena, while also mentioning the game's emphasis on character models and costumes. The graphics and physics, particularly the movement of hair, clothes and breasts, are praised. The main reviewer, Alex Warren, calls the gameplay scintillating, and compares it favorably to Virtua Fighter 3 TB and Soul Calibur, while acknowledging some might find it button-mashy. A bum notes section criticizes the game's reliance on seminate characters. A second opinion by Simon Phillips praises the multiplayer and visuals. The game receives a 91% rating, with individual scores given for various aspects. Alternatives mentioned are Soul Calibur and Ready to Rumble Boxing. Overall, the review recommends Dead or Alive 2. The next page reviews Echo the Dolphin, Defender of the Future. It's positioned as a welcome return for the character, ready for some jolly good battering against bad guys. The review opens with a humorous take on the character's appeal, and then gets into the game's storyline, which involves time travel and eco-friendly themes. They mention the gameplay is puzzle-solving focused across 30 stages, with a similar feel to the original Echo games, emphasizing swimming and interacting with other sea creatures for help. The graphics are praised, saying the visuals will impress players. They point out, it uses the Dreamcast's power to surpass previous Mega Drive Echo games visually, showing off detailed underwater environments. There's also a section titled, Time for Old School Action, suggesting some 2D sections that are still visually impressive and retain the classic Echo gameplay. The Infoblast section notes, this is the fourth game in the Echo series, referencing previous titles like Echo Jr., and makes a cheeky jab at the Nintendo's next console delay. The review includes screenshots highlighting the game's graphics and gameplay, with captions describing in-game moments and humorous observations. Essential information lists Sega as the publisher and Appaloosa Interactive as the developer, noting it's a UK-developed adventure game, priced at £39.99 and released on May 26. It also mentions support for one player, arcade stick, vibration pack, and VM. This page continues the review of Echo the Dolphin, Defender of the Future, elaborating on its underwater world and serene atmosphere, but also hinting at some vagueness in objectives. There's a second opinion piece, which echoes the sentiment that Echo is visually stunning, particularly the graphics, and enjoyable, noting the puzzles and gameplay depth. Then there's a section titled, Smells Like Fish Spirit, which seems to be about the minigames within Echo, showing screenshots of these, with humorous captions referencing Catch the Fish and football. The magazine gives Echo a DM rating of 91%, breaking it down with 93% for visuals, 89% for sounds, 85% for gameplay, and 86% for value. It concludes by recommending the game as a return to form, comparing it to Sonic's Legacy, and highlighting the Dolphin gameplay. Alternative games mentioned as alternatively are MDK2 and Sonic Adventure, both top-notch titles. On the right side of the page there's an advert for a website called GamesDemon.com, promoting wicked discounts on Dreamcast, Nintendo, PlayStation and PC games. Below that is a retailer called New Age Consoles, advertising consoles, accessories, and a large stock of both new and second-hand games across UK, US, and Japanese regions. They list a range of games and prices for various consoles, including Dreamcast titles like Crazy Taxi, Zombie Revenge, Soul Calibur, Resident Evil 2, ECW Wrestling, and others. They also mention accessories like arcade sticks and steering wheels for the Dreamcast. Four Wheel Thunder, a new off-road racing game for the Dreamcast, is reviewed as a refreshing addition to the genre, successfully blending simulation and arcade elements. The game offers diverse modes like arcade, championship, bomb, balloon, tag, and features visually impressive outdoor and indoor tracks. The review highlights the game's heavenly visuals and frantic action. Initially titled Off-Road Thunder, it's the second game in Midway's Thunder series, following Hydro Thunder. A unique one-armed bandit feature allows players to gamble winnings after winning a championship race. The review box confirms a £39.99 price tag, a French origin, published by Midway, developed by Callisto, and a release in April, with vibration pack support. Four Wheel Thunder is a highly rated arcade racer for the Dreamcast. The game is praised for its fast-paced, addictive gameplay, particularly the sense of speed achieved at 60 FPS, calling it a wow experience. Featuring tracks in diverse locations with visual flair like giant inflatables, the external view is recommended for the best speed experience. Comparisons are drawn to Super Mario Kart for its pure fun. Reviews highlight the game's polished arcade action, graphics, and overall appeal, recommending it for fun-seeking racing fans. The game offers a variety of vehicles, including monster trucks and buggies, and includes a two-player mode with Mario Kart-style minigames. The game receives a 92% overall score, with high marks for visuals and gameplay. Criticisms are minor, mainly about the enemy AI, music, and a missed opportunity for four-player support. It's considered brilliant fun, offering high-speed thrills and spills. This page reviews Techromancer, or Kukusenki Kikayo as it's known in Japan, a beat-em-up from Capcom, published by Virgin Interactive. They've given it a stonking 90% DM rating, reckon it's proper good fun even if it's not quite Soul Calibur. Gameplay gets a massive 92%, value 93%, visuals 87% and sounds 80%. Alex Warren reckons it's a must for beat-em-up fans and a welcome new experience, moving away from the drab 2D fighters. They're raving about the sheer playability and enjoyment, saying it makes up for any lack of beauty. The review highlights its fast, furious metal-bashing action and the sheer amount of extra bits in the game. Apparently, there are tons of finishing moves and a story mode with individual storylines for 12 pilots. Not just robots, mind you, pilots. They mention mini-games, a snappy animation style, and even an artwork puzzle as extra bits to keep you going. Downsides are mostly about getting used to the controls, and maybe it's a bit much for those who don't like manga. Overall though, sounds like a cracking robot fighter, with plenty to keep you busy. This page features a review of the Nomad's Soul, which is set in Omicron, where you can become anyone you want apparently. It reckons it's a rewarding experience, if you're willing to give it a chance. They're highlighting David Bowie's involvements, saying he's deeply involved in the game, even appearing as a character called Boz who's a musical soothsayer. Apparently Bowie composed music for the game, and he's not the only musician involved. Worse, the review talks about selling your soul, explaining you play as a floating spirit who can possess people in this adventure game, which mixes in third-person adventure bits with first-person GoldenEye-style shooting, and some 3D beat-em-up sections. It's compared to a scaled-down version of Shenmue, where you can wander around, shop, and enjoy the entertainment. The Second Opinion review gives it an 84% decimatum rating overall. Visuals got 88%, sounds a stonking 90%, gameplay 80%, and value 77%. Martin Mathers liked David Bowie's inclusion, reckons it pushes the score up. Simon Phillips thought it was a bit too slow-paced. They mentioned some downsides, like the controls being a bit fiddly with button and DPAD combos, and the pace might be a bit slow for some, but overall they reckon it's a rich and interesting adventure if you stick with it. They suggest Soul Reaver, Legacy of Kain, and Shadow Man as alternatives if you fancy something similar. Street Fighter II, Double Impact on Dreamcast combines the original Street Fighter II and a newer version. It aims to offer value by simplifying gameplay, removing features like air blocking, and introducing super arts. New characters like Necro, Urian, Oro and Gil are highlighted, with others receiving brief mentions. The review's second opinion is negative, with Alex Warren criticizing the 2D fighting style. Despite this, the game receives a 74% rating, with high marks for visuals, sounds, and gameplay. The opinion section is split. Karate praises the game for genre fans, animation, and new characters, while Tai Chi is less enthusiastic, questioning the appeal of 2D graphics. Alternatives like Street Fighter Alpha 3 and Marvel vs. Capcom are suggested. This page features a review of the Dreamcast game, ECW Hardcore Revolution. The review is written from the perspective of someone who isn't a massive wrestling fan, which sets the tone. The reviewer notes that the game visually looks quite good, praising the wrestler models and arenas, but feels that it is essentially identical to WWF Attitude, another wrestling game from Acclaim. There's a section called The Good News, which highlights the number of match options and wrestler creation features, while the bad news is that it's very similar to Attitude, criticizing the sound effects, commentator, and collision detection. An awesome moment segment jokingly mentions the game's intro, featuring women with large breasts. Then Don't Fancy Yours Much gives short, sarcastic character descriptions of wrestlers like Rob Van Dam, Just Incredible, Sabu, and Tommy Dreamer. The second opinion section is split into ECWOW and ECAS, indicating differing views, with the overall dem rating being 48%. The review concludes that it's not worth rushing out to buy, and questions why Acclaim even bothered sending a review copy, suggesting it's just like their previous wrestling title. Screenshots throughout the review show in-game action, character selection screens, and creator-player features, with captions adding humorous commentary. This page features a review of Weetrix Plus for the Dreamcast, a puzzle game described as intensely addictive and frustratingly enjoyable. The review highlights its core gameplay, which involves building dams from Tetris-like blocks to control water and prevent leaks and earthquakes. It's noted that while visually and orally improved for the Dreamcast, the 3D perspective from the original game can still make block placement tricky. The Bricking It section mentions disappointment at the lack of a 4-player mode, but still praises the 2-player experience. The second opinion section further reinforces the addictive nature and head-scratching puzzle elements. Weetrix Plus scores an impressive 80% DM rating, summed up as a great game that puzzle fans should own. The review suggests if you enjoyed the original PC or N64 versions, or just love puzzle games, this is worth your money. Otherwise, stick to titles like Chef's Love Shack or Toy Commander. The essential information box details it's a puzzler genre game, published by Take-Two Interactive, developed by Z2, originating from the UK, priced at £39.99, and is available out now. The tagline for the review is, "Puzzle game fans will find themselves in cerebral cortex-munching nirvana." Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is an incredible beat-em-up, hailed as a top-notch title from Capcom. Featuring a roster of 56 characters, including familiar faces like Ryu and Spider-Man, as well as newcomers such as Jill Valentine, players engage in 3-on-3 battles, utilizing special moves and hyper combos. The game boasts smooth animation and screen-filling action. Players earn D-points to unlock costumes and characters in the Versus shop. The game, developed and published by Capcom, originates from Japan. The second opinion calls it a revelation, highlighting the over-the-top moves. It takes the crown for most playable characters from Street Fighter Alpha 3. The Dreamcast Magazine gives it a 92% rating, with high marks for gameplay and value. The review praises the game's depth, urging players to check out the original Marvel vs. Capcom and Street Fighter Alpha 3. This page reviews a selection of import Dreamcast games. Virtua Cop 2 is criticized as a poor arcade port, 69%. Ring, a Resident Evil-inspired title, receives a lukewarm review, 59%. Aero Dancing F is praised for its challenging flight simulation, 82%, while Sakura Wars, Hanagumi Taisen Columns 2, a Tetris-like puzzle game, earns a decent score, 77%. NHL 2K is highlighted as a strong ice hockey title, 84%. The page also features an advertisement for Madeira Game Specialists, showcasing a range of PS2 hardware and, importantly, import Dreamcast games like Biohazard Veronica, Crazy Taxi, and Shenmue, alongside hardware like Universal Dreamcasts and VMUS, making it a prime spot for import gaming needs. This page showcases a vibrant advert for Rayman 2, The Great Escape on the Dreamcast, boasting about new downloadable levels from the website, ultra-fast gameplay, and stunning graphics. It's pushing an exclusive multiplayer map for up to 4 players, suggesting it's a real looker, and begging to be played with mates. Then over on the right we've got the contents page for the magazine, under the heading Interact. Looks like the usual magazine fare, a mailbox section for reader letters, reader reviews, a top 10 feature, and a section called Hooking Up About Getting Online. All standard stuff back then. There's also Dreamcast solutions for tips and cheats, and a big splash for Tomb Raider, The Last Revelation. Looks like they're giving it a good going over in a guide. A directory for game info is mentioned, along with Stuff and Nonsense, which sounds like a bits and bobs page, Dream On, which is probably some forward look at gaming, subscriptions and back issues info, and a Dream Moment section, highlighting a top Dreamcast gaming moment of the month, this time focusing on Crazy Taxi. The Dreamcast magazine's Interact mailbox section features reader letters discussing various topics. Some readers complained about the Dreamcast's game lineup compared to the unreleased PS2 titles and questioned the console's power. Others inquired about action replay cards, light gun games, and the Dreamcast's compatibility against the PS2. Readers also sought information on wrestling games, Shenmue's translation, and the Dreamkey keyboard's usability. The magazine provided updates, confirmed the translation, addressed keyboard concerns, and hinted at improvements. Other topics included online gaming delays, retail space allocation, game pausing issues, and comparisons to the Saturn's fate. Readers asked about future WWF games, racing game recommendations, football manager games, and MP3 player connectivity. The magazine also discussed Sega's peripherals, backward compatibility, Sega's financial struggles, and the low rating for WWF Attitude. The section concluded with questions about rugby games and a promotion to win Mad Catz peripherals. This magazine focuses on Dreamcast games, particularly beat-em-ups, and reader reviews. Readers can submit reviews and receive a free Dreampad controller. Early reviews highlight Crazy Taxi, 94% and 95%, praised for its fun arcade style, Speed Devils, 86%, for its racing sim feel, and Virtua Striker 2 version 2000.1, 85% for arcade accuracy. The magazine then presents a top 10 Dreamcast beat-em-ups list. Standouts include Soul Calibur at number 1, lauded as the best fighting game, Ready 2 Rumbles at number 2 for its boxing action, Power Stone at number 3 for its unique gameplay, and Street Fighter Alpha 3 at number 4, a classic title. Other games on the list include Psychic Force 2012, WWF Attitude, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Mortal Kombat Gold, Virtua Fighter 3 TB, and Marvel vs. Cap.com. The magazine encourages reader submissions. This guide details how to use a Dreamcast for online shopping. It provides a step-by-step walkthrough using Amazon.co.uk as an example, and includes online shopping, do's and don'ts. Recommended shopping sites include gameplay.co.uk for games, Amazon for books, iwantonoffthose.com and thegadgetshop.co.uk for gadgets, hmv.co.uk and virginmega.com for media, and gap.com and next.co.uk for clothing. The guide also highlights entertainment websites like ecwwrestling.com, dolphinsynergy.com, bikinibybarelyvisible.com, and capcom.com. Instructions explain the function of the Dreamcast's shoulder buttons for web browsing, and concludes with an advertisement for What's Online magazine. This page provides cheat codes for several Dreamcast games. For Street Fighter 3, Double Impact, it details how to unlock hidden characters like Akuma and Gil through specific button combinations. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Heritage for the Future's cheats unlock playable characters such as Kid Mode Jojo and Dio, acquired by completing game modes. Worms Armageddon's codes unlock a bonus scheme, and in-game cheats like Bleeding Worms and Laser Sight through training scenarios. Fighting Force 2's level select and fireworks unlock are revealed, while Dynamite Cop's cheats unlock bonus missions, characters like Monkey and Bruno, and infinite credits for a minigame. The page also advertises a Cheats Unlimited service for more game tips. This guide provides a walkthrough for Tomb Raider, The Last Revelation on the Dreamcast. It covers 4 levels: Angkor Wat, Cambodia 1984, Race for the Iris, The Tomb of Seth, Egypt, and Burial Chambers. Angkor Wat focuses on training, finding items, and following Von Croy. Race for the Iris involves chasing Von Croy, using levers and monkey bars. The Tomb of Seth requires collecting items, avoiding enemies, and navigating traps. Burial Chambers involves lever puzzles, trap avoidance, and item collection. The guide also offers clues for finding 70 secrets. It highlights the Dreamcast controls for movement, combat, and interactions. The game, published by Eidos Interactive and developed by Core Design, is an adventure game. It includes the supported Dreamcast peripherals, such as the standard controller, arcade stick, and memory unit. This page continues the walkthrough for Tomb Raider, The Last Revelation, moving into Level 5, Valley of the Kings. It guides players through using the Land Rover to navigate the level, avoid traps, and take out guards. Level 6, KV5, continues with the Land Rover, platforming sections, and more item collection. Next up is Level 7, Temple of Karnak, which involves indoor exploration, combat against scorpions, and puzzle solving within temple architecture. Level 8, the Great Hypostyle Hall, features more complex climbing, monkey bar sections, and introduces Arab enemies alongside scorpions. Finally, Level 9, Sacred Lake, takes Lara underwater and into more puzzle-solving scenarios, with crocodiles and bats adding to the danger. There's also a secrets section, detailing the locations of secrets within Level 5 and Level 6, for those completionists out there. This page continues the Tomb Raider, The Last Revelation walkthrough with Level 10, Tomb of Semoket, which involves navigating beetle-infested areas, flicking switches, and using poles and ropes to progress. There's also a segment detailing Senate the Losing Route, explaining how losing at the Senate minigame within Tomb Raider actually opens up an alternate path containing secrets and extra items. It describes the steps to take if you lose at Senate, guiding you through a losing route, with new challenges and rewards. Level 11, Guardian of Semoket, walkthrough follows on, detailing how to navigate past iris blades, wheel puzzles, and a bull enemy, culminating in using the Golden Vreis item to solve a puzzle involving light beams. Finally, there's a secrets section for Level 10 listing secret locations, and how to reach them, several of which are tied to losing the Senate game. This page continues the walkthrough for Tomb Raider, The Last Revelation, cracking on with levels Desert Railroad, Alexandria, Coastal Ruins and then Catacombs. For Desert Railroad, the guide directs you through train carriages, shooting guards and using crowbars to open panels. Sounds like classic Lara Croft action. Next up is Alexandria, where you'll be dealing with scorpions, a fountain courtyard and even a motorbike puzzle. It seems like a varied level. Coastal Ruins takes you to palm trees and pyramids, with spike traps to navigate and laser-sighted crossbow action. Classic stuff. Finally, the Catacombs guide talks about skeletons, pits, and lavas, suggesting a more classic Tomb Raider environment. There's also a secret section detailing hidden areas in Desert Railroad and Alexandria, for those completionists amongst us. This page continues the Tomb Raider, The Last Revelation walkthrough, picking up with Level 15 Catacombs, then Level 16 Temple of Poseidon, and finally Level 17 Lost Library. For the Catacombs, it looks like Lara's swinging across ropes and finding tridents. Temple of Poseidon seems to involve navigating around pillars and underwater sections, still collecting tridents it seems. Lost Library details involve crawling through spaces, dealing with knights, and using more tridents. It appears they are key items in this section. There's also a secret section again, covering the Catacombs and Temple of Poseidon levels, pointing out hidden areas and items. Looks like classic Tomb Raider exploration, and puzzle solving is still the order of the day. This page is an advertorial spread, heavily promoting shopping and competitions. The left side is for Shop at Home magazine, pushing its online shopping guide, boasting hundreds of bargains and covering everything from fashion to video games and even pets. There's a mention of over 400 proven websites being listed each month, and features like comparison tables for online and high street prices. Over on the right, IT Video Game Center are advertising their services for buying, selling and exchanging both new and used games across all consoles, new and retro. Below that is an advert for Intok, who are import specialists for PlayStation, Dreamcast and Nintendo 64, promising free same-day delivery in central London. The main event on this page is The Coolest Competition, where you can win a Dreamcast console, right at the top, alongside other prizes including a color Game Boy, personal MP3 player, a Neo Geo, a televideo combination, mini disc player, a MIDI hi-fi, a Nintendo 64, a mobile phone, a Sony PlayStation, 10 music skids, Pokémon games, and even any 3 PlayStation games of your choice. Lots of prizes up for grabs, if you call those premium rate numbers. This Dreamcast game directory provides mini reviews, ratings, and purchasing advice. Highlights include Crazy Taxi, Adrenaline Rush, House of the Dead 2 Must Have, Rayman 2, Highly Recommended, Power Stone, Wonderful, and Sega Rally 2, Unrivaled Arcade Action. Other genres are represented, spanning flight simulators, sports, and strategy games. The directory includes a key for understanding review details, a list of reviewers, and genre definitions. The Gearbox section reviews Dreamcast peripherals. The Dreamforce joypad is praised for its value, while the Dreamwheel is deemed less impressive for racing games. This directory provides a diverse range of reviews. It begins with a game listing, detailing import titles such as Bakuretsu Muteki Bangai OH and Virtua Fighter 3 TB, including publisher information, player numbers, and ratings. The Best of Genre section highlights standouts: Rayman 2, Action Adventure, Soul Calibur, Beat 'em Ups, Crazy Taxi, Driving/Racing, Choo Choo Rocket, Party Puzzle, Armada, Shoot 'em Ups, NBA Showtime, NBA vs NBC Sports, and Deadly Skies, Strategy Simulation. Comic reviews include Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Uninvited Guests, 3/5, Battle Chasers, A Gathering of Heroes, 5/5, and Simpsons A Go-Go, 4/5. CD reviews feature Blue Tones, Science and Nature, 4/5, The Cure Bloodflowers, 3/5, and Santessa Delirium, 5/5. The most played section notes Dead or Alive 2, MDK2, and Four Wheel Thunder as popular office choices, offering brief, enthusiastic descriptions. This page shows a collection of novelty items under the heading Stuff and Nonsense. We've got a quirky selection of gadgets, starting with The Stone, a mystery puzzle pendant from Imperial Games. Then there's the Fart Machine, a remote-controlled device for pranking your mates, sold at Debenhams. Next up is the Homer Watch, a Simpsons-themed timepiece in a Duff beer can from Wesco Limited, available at Gadget Shop/Boots. Moving down, we see the Aveeno VH650 Hi-Fi from Kenwood, described as a stylish and technologically advanced sound system. Alongside it is the Lego Technic Roboriders, which are Lego sets that connect to a website for online competitions. Virtual Reality Boxing by H. Grossman is presented as a home VR boxing setup. Finally, there's the Rapid Fire Super Splat paintball gun from Olop for some summer fun, and the PowerShot S20 digital camera from Canon boasting impressive megapixels. Lastly, there's a Star Wars episode Unchess, set from the Really Useful Games Company Limited, stocked at Wii featuring Star Wars characters as chess pieces. This page is an advert for Dial-A-Game, a rather nifty sounding service to get your Dreamcast games delivered. It's being pitched as a fantastic new way to get Dreamcast stuff, and it does sound pretty straightforward. Just call up, order your games, and they add the cost to your phone bill, which is quite convenient really. They've got a whole host of games on offer, including classics like Crazy Taxi, Soul Reaver, Echo the Dolphin, and even Resident Evil 2. Looking down the list, there's also Sonic Adventure and Soul Calibur, which were must-haves back then. They've got accessories too, like controllers and memory cards available via the service. There's a competition running as well. You could win an Aibo robot dog, those were quite the thing at the time, or even a brand new PS2 console which was just coming out and everyone was after. You had to call a premium rate number to enter, mind you, £1 a minute, and it all needed to be in by June 10, 2000. A quick and easy way to rent games delivered to your door, not a bad idea at all. This page features various advertisements for video game related products and services. DreamOnBabe.com targets Dreamcast owners with game reviews and community features. A prank call service advertises premium rate numbers. Telegames, a UK Neo Geo stockist, offers a range of consoles and Millennium bargain offers, including Atari Lynx handhelds and games. The Game Store in Sheffield sells Dreamcast, PlayStation, N64, and Game Boy games, consoles and accessories, with mail-order options. CybernetFilmStudio.com promotes mail-order games with a discount coupon. Console King, an online store established in 1995, advertises its online store and offers numerous Dreamcast imports, including games and accessories, as well as Saturn components. Finally, an advert promotes a Dreamcast carry bag. The next page is dominated by a massive advertorial splash for Half-Life on the Dreamcast, boasting a world exclusive. They're really pushing it as the must-have first-person shooter that every Dreamcast owner is clamoring for, and they're playing it first, apparently. There's a large, rather gruesome image of a headcrab zombie to grab your attention. The page also acts as an advert for Dreamcast Magazine itself, listing 6 key reasons why you should pick it up. Things like comprehensive UK, Japanese and American game reviews, cheats and tips every month, tons of competitions, and reviews written by the best in the business. They are clearly positioning themselves as the definitive Dreamcast magazine. There's even a handy form for your newsagent to reserve you a copy each month, priced at £2.99. Alongside the Half-Life hype, they are showcasing other titles. Under the heading, featuring all these, are Rally 2 and Tony Hawk's Skateboarding. Then under Great Games, they've got Choo Choo Rocket, Power Stone 2, Wacky Races, and Code Veronica. So a good mix of genres there to tempt you. Right at the bottom corner, it's trailed that issue 9 will be on sale May 18, 2000. All in all, this page is a full-on promotion for both Half-Life on Dreamcast and the Dreamcast magazine itself. This page is an advertisement spread, split between subscribing to Dreamcast magazine itself and some enticing offers from Software First. For the magazine subscription, they are pushing 2 options. Option 1 is just the magazine delivered to your door at a discount, and Option 2 throws in a Dreamcast game of your choice from a selection alongside the discounted magazine. On the other half, Software First are advertising any game for £14.99 and showcasing their swap and shop service, where you can buy a game, keep it up to 40 days, and then swap it for another, paying only the difference. They've got a whole raft of games advertised at £14.99, including titles like Armada, Crazy Taxi, Echo the Dolphin, Sega Rally 2, Resident Evil 2, Shadowman, Soul Calibur, and Tony Hawk Skateboarding. There's also a selection of peripherals, like official VMUS, vibration packs, keyboards, and even racing wheels, all at reasonable prices. They are really going for the value proposition here. They also mention fantastic deals with game bundles and console packs, including Solus, Silver and Gold packs, which include the Dreamcast console itself, controllers and games, ranging in price up to £279.99 for the Gold pack. The next page showcases a Dream Moment feature, this time focusing on Crazy Taxi. It's a reader submission, describing the thrill of flying over the trolley hill in the game, capturing that exhilarating arcade feeling that Crazy Taxi delivers so well. The accompanying screenshot perfectly illustrates this moment, with the taxi airborne and the fare racking up. The page is also packed with adverts from Special Reserve Discount Club. They're pushing their membership, highlighting the benefits like a free gift upon joining and a whole host of other perks, including 9 issues of the club magazine and entry to competitions for just £6.99. They're also boasting about having over 500,000 members. There's a sale, 1,000s of games down in price, section showing various Dreamcast titles on offer, including Evolution, Crazy Taxi, Tomb Raider 4, and Soul Reaver, all with savings of around £10 or more. They also list peripherals, like Dreamcast controllers, memory cards, and even light guns, all with discounted prices at ukgames.com. Further down, there are details of 7 big club shops locations and online ordering information for ukgames.com and Special Reserve, making it clear where you can grab these deals both online and on the high street.